Blue Sky friends, remember the one golden rule. Just block and move on. If you see an account that is run by the Trump administration on there because they've started appearing, if you see one, do not interact, don't fight it, because that is what they want. Just block and move on. You gotta suffocate them of oxygen if you want to keep your space free of stupidity and bigotry and fascism. That is a requirement. In order to kill a snake, you must deprive it of oxygen. You cannot talk it to death. You need to suffocate it. Speaking of snakes and things that are long, hold on just a second. Here I am. Hi Ryan. Hi, my name is GirafaStev. I'm the president of the Long Boy Club, a very large enjoyer of gaming, wrestling, the CONTROLLAR, who you will meet here in a few minutes, and my stinky cats. No longer dog, because, remember this guy? This guy's Romeo. We took him in as a foster pet a little while ago. And he's already been adopted. He's already been adopted. Romeo will now be staying with someone that's very close to me and my roommates. He's gonna have a really good life. I know it. I mean, he's got, like, you know, other pets that he can play with. He's got a big old backyard with a lot of toys. I'm really, really excited for him to actually have the life that he deserves. I'm really sad I can't give him it myself, but, you know, I want the best for him. I love him very much. Yeah. Tom Street 3, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Long Boy Club. You are now a member for life. I just checked your profile pic. It is absolutely good. Is that asexual Knuckles that I see? Speaking of Sonic, oh boy, I got something to share with you guys here soon. But first off, I've actually been playing a lot of TAW lately.
Hello, Mario.
And have the funny and dumb idea of bringing Drake and Josh into TNA for Bound for Glory 2000. Are they? Are Drake and Josh people that you can sign in the game? Because before we get into tonight's festivities, because yes, we will be doing SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 tonight, we will be playing the Create a Wrestler story mode where you break the Undertaker streak. And we're going to be diving a little bit into the Long Boy lore to pick out this year's hero. Yes, specifically demi-egosexual. Sorry, my terminology is a little rusty. Did I say that right? Demi-egosexual. I myself am asexual. So, yeah. Yeah, there's celebrities in TWIAX, at least the mod I have. What mod do you have? Do you have, Where It All Begins Again? Because I have that mod. And oh boy, let me tell you, I'm gonna share something with you right quick, okay? I'm gonna share something with you. Because this deserves to be shared. Because I have a save in the 2004 mod that I have on my save file here. And ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between, I need to celebrate this with you. I need to celebrate this with you real fast. By the way, Tom Street, I myself am a big Sonic fan. I'm a fucking huge Sonic fan, actually. So huge that I actually have him as my, car navigator. Because there is a little app that you can download onto your phone. It's called Waze. And with the app, you can actually have certain characters guide you. It can be like, you know, personalized, you know, voices based on certain character archetypes. Or it can be like actual fictional characters from like a, from like a World of Warcraft character to Master Chief to Sonic the Hedgehog. And it isn't like a thing where it's like they slap like, you know, a fucking like AI voice in there. No, they actually got Roger Craig Smith to come into the booth and record a script that just consists of lines of Sonic telling you when to turn and when, you know, a traffic stop is coming up. And he'll also have like little quips at the end of every traffic direction. I literally have it noted down, right? I have the structure of the app noted down. It is the directions are structured like this. It is navigational instruction, whether it be in 1 mile, turn left, followed by a quip, right? So Sonic can say something like, in half a mile, turn left. I'm really getting the hang of this navigation business. Or, in 1 mile, turn right. Nice handling so far. No notes from me whatsoever. And I just imagine what it's like if you're like inebriated behind the wheel, right? Like Sonic's all like, nice handling so far. And meanwhile, you're like driving 40 in a 20. And then the officer pulls you over. Sir, do you know why I stopped you? Officer, you don't understand. Sonic the Hedgehog said that I was doing fantastic. Like, you wouldn't even get to the sobriety test, bud. You'd be brought in immediately. But it's fine, because Sonic's got your back. He'll represent you in court. But, Your Honor, my client had awesome handling. Mr. Sonic T. Hedgehog. It says here that he was driving 40 in a 20-mile area. And in fact, his handling was, and I quote from the police report, total dog shit. What say to you? What do you have to say to that, Mr. T. Hedgehog? Keep it tight. 5 years community service. For you and the rodent. The rodent in my iPad said I was doing well. But yeah, it's not like AI generated or anything like that. It's literally like they got Roger into the booth and they had him record lines. Now, it's not a lot of lines. There are times where I've got him to say the same quip after multiple road directions. So he's like, in 1.5 in 1.5 miles, turn right. Excellent handling so far. Then, in 1 mile, turn left. Excellent handling so far. It's like he just says the same thing. Like he doesn't even like criticize you at all. He just spends the whole time glazing you. It's very, very funny. But no, Avlovian driver. That's awesome. Yeah. But no, I need to show you something real fast. Where's my display capture? Let me go and grab CEW real fast. Look at this. This right here is my 2004 save. It's total non-stop action. In the big 2004. This was before TNA shit the bed. And you start with Jeff Jarrett as your champion, right? But as you can see, I got the title off of him. Because in this save, Jeff Jarrett has a creative control clause that lets him veto any creative decision I make unless he likes it. You know? So for the longest time, I could not get him to drop the title. I finally did. I finally did it. I deleted that creative control so quickly. Dude, I wanted the challenge, but I did it. And I got it on none other than Ron the goddamn Truth Killings, because he fucking deserves it. I tried literally for months, both in-game and real life, to get this goddamn belt off of Jeff Jarrett, and I finally did it. And I'm never gonna give it back to him. I'm never getting that belt back to him because I know that he's gonna veto every chance that I friggin' take to... I know he's gonna veto every attempt I make to get the belt off of him. Killings is an international treasure. Dude, look at his stats here. Look at his wait, those are his attributes. Look at his stats. He's solid in everything. He has all of his fundamentals in like green or more. The majority of his primary and mental stats are also really damn good. He has absolutely incredible charisma. And he has really good star quality, too. Sure, he doesn't really have, you know, good commentating experience, but I'm not gonna put him on, you know, commentary ever. I'm making him the star of TNA. I am essentially making him my Hangman Page. He's gonna carry TNA for the next 5 years. He hasn't had a 25+ year career for nothing. Exactly. And frankly, I believe that he deserves to be more than a one-time world champion. So now he is a two-time. I just gotta see it again because it feels so good. A two-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And it feels so good. It took so long to get this belt. And my favorite part about doing all this, right, is that I've been trying to get the belt onto Ron Killings ever since I started this save. And I was spending all this time building him up. And while I was in the process of that, Jeff Jarrett only went to Japan and dropped it to some fucking random over there. I'm sorry, I do not know the accomplishments and legacy of Kazuyuki Fujita. I'm sure that he's really great. I also immediately create the TNA titles because I don't love the Alliance titles. I think that they have advantages. I think they have advantages because, for one thing, they're already established. And since you're TNA, the chances of them... sorry, the chances of, like, at least the NWA title being lost to someone that's not already working for TNA is pretty slim. However, as I just said, Jarrett was a fucking mark over in 0-1 and he dropped it to Fujita. But also, as you can see, I hot-shotted the title back onto him. Like, literally less than a week after Fujita won it, I called him in to one of the weekly NWA TNA pay-per-views, and I had him drop the title back to Jarrett. And he would then go on to hold it for another 4+ months before finally dropping the title to Ron Killings at Victory Road. In front of 15,000 screaming TNA-ites. Oh right, this was still the pay-per-view only era, wasn't it? It was still the pay-per-view only era. I stopped the weekly pay-per-views at the end of September, kind of similar to how it was in real life. But I brought Victory Road up
Hello, Mario.
up into October. The truth shall set you free! And it has set the NWA title free. Free from the grasp of Jeff Jarrett, who will never, ever hold the title again as long as he has a creative control clause. So he's gonna have to wait at least 4 years on that shit. In the meantime, I'm not gonna give him any belts. I will give him no belts. I will have Ron face him one more time for the title. I already checked. Jeff Jarrett will go over on, Jeff will allow Ron to go over again under certain conditions. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna wrap up that feud. And then once that's done, I'm gonna have Ron go up against one... Hold on. I will have him go up against one Charles Montgomery Punk, who won the right to face Ron Killings for the title at Victory Road by winning a ladder match. He won a 6-way ladder match against, I don't even remember. Hold on. Let me see his match history. He won it against Monty Brown, Bobby Roode, Jerry Lynn, Jeff Hardy, and Scott Raven Huffman. I don't know why I invoked Maven there. In a ladder match. I brought in both Colt Cabana and Ace Steel, so that way they can, be the Second City Saints in a faction. And I'm gonna place the Second City Saints up against the 3 Live Crew. And through that feud, BG James will turn on the group and join up with Kip James. I've got Monty Brown in the midst of a year-long X Division title run. The problem with Monty Brown, right, is that I want him to win the NWA title. In fact, I'm probably going to put it on him after Ron. But the problem with him is that if he tries to... Actually, he has multiple problems. One, he is not very experienced, and that affects his match status. 2, he has an explosive ring style, which means that he does really good in matches that are 10 minutes or less. But if he is in a match that is meant to slowly build, go longer than 10 minutes, or work or calm down the crowd, then it gives him a penalty. Yeah, exactly. It's the Goldberg status. Monty Brown is basically my Goldberg, except he can talk much better, and he has much more charisma, and he also has just better, fundamentals. I could give him a short world title run, maybe 2 to 3 months. But that's probably it. Because the upside with someone like Ron Killings is that he's a 5-tool player. He has the fundamentals. He has the charisma. He has the star quality. He has enough experience to where it won't show through in his match. And he has a really solid reputation. So anyone will be willing to work with him. He's an absolutely safe bet, and he will deliver on multiple fronts. And he's also kind of like one of those guys that, even if I have him hold the title for a year, he probably still won't get injured, he's just a really good, reliable guy that I can stick into almost any situation. He honestly just is that guy. So, going with him right off the bat and sticking with him for a while is a no-brainer. So, yeah. The next title holder after Ron will either be Monty Brown or CM Punk. I'm leaning towards Brown because I don't know if, him retiring is going to be, scripted into this game. Rather, scripted into this mod. Because you may know that Monty Brown had to step away from the wrestling business to handle family stuff. I don't know if that's going to happen in this save. But if it does, I want him to have at least one world title run under his belt, because honestly, he's such a charismatic dynamo that you could give him that. So yeah. Listen, ever since I discovered CEW, it's infected my brain like virus. Like Don Callis, it's Cyrus the Virus. Exactly, give him the red carpet on the way out. If he has 90 days left on his contract, I'm gonna give him the title for those 90 days. So that way he can have that one world title run, and then he can put someone over on the way out. So yeah. I started playing TEW years ago, back in 2016. I started playing it a few months ago, and ever since then I can't put it down. It is unlike any other booking simulator I've ever played. It's incredibly in-depth, not just in, the show booking stuff, but also in the managerial aspect, too. It scratches a part of my brain that is just begging to be scratched. And while I would play more of it on stream with my friend Patch in chat, the unfortunate thing is it's not a very good stream game. But, and this is a nice time to plug, me and Patch are going to be continuing with the game over on my VOD channel. Sorry, that was my controller. Over on my VOD channel right here. It's me. I'm Patch. Oh wait, that was the wrong one. You're Patch, yeah. I'll be playing it with her over on my VOD channel. We're going to be doing pre-recorded VODs on there, and we're going to be putting them up on there throughout the next however long we want to do it. When we get to pay-per-views, we're going to import those cards into Fire Pro Wrestling World. And we're going to commentate over the matches in that game. I don't know, I kind of thought about that. It sounds like a really fun series. It sounds like something that could be really, really fun. So if that sounds cool to you, go click on my card link and go subscribe to the VOD channel. I'm also on YouTube for my, sorry. I also have a, Clips channel. I also have a TikTok, a Blue Sky. You'll find all of that over there. Also a Discord server. More modern TNA, more bands. Exactly. It's essentially gonna be like a really like podcasty type of VOD series, you know? So if that sounds cool to you, if you want to hear a giraffe and an absolutely beautiful trans woman talk about modern wrestling and book modern wrestling, if you want to see Nyla Rose go over in TNA, make sure that you follow and subscribe to the VOD channel, to the Highlights channel, and maybe follow me on Blue Sky and TikTok, if you're so inclined. No, we should probably get to tonight's festivities, shouldn't we? But first, let's run an ad. Let's go ahead and run the ad, and then we'll get down to business and defeat the Huns.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. You can follow me on Blue Sky, but I don't really post anything. You sure can.
Imagine a skateboard without wheels and used as a single ski board. That's the concept behind Cool Borders. The graphics look great in still frames, but they're a disappointment in real time. Also disappointing is the play control. The high speed and challenge of the game make it difficult to navigate the courses, even with the hard turn button. Jumping is also awkward. It feels delayed or held back. As in many other games of this type, you can perform tricks to earn points, but that's kind of pointless. No pun intended. The main goal is not simply surviving the levels, but beating a certain time set previously by a fictional player. This takes away from just being able to have fun, and that announcer, ugh, somebody shoot that dweeb. He's one of those guys with slow motion syntax and overdrawn emotions, saying things like, way cool, man. Totally rockin', man. Whoa, I thought you were history. And are you tripping out or what? Sometimes you wish the goal of the game were to hunt that wiener down and kill him.
I don't know why he's so violent, chat. Why is he so violent? What did the wiener ever do to him? Yeah. Tonight we're going to be playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, the Road to WrestleMania mode. Starting with, of course, the created character run, where we will go up against, where we will go one-on-one with the Undertaker player. Granted, we're back from break here. Let me go ahead and kind of bring up a bit of cookie clicker music.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. So, yeah, we're gonna start the game here. Hold on just a sec, I gotta get my controller off the ground. So right now, I am playing the PS3 version with a knockoff controller, which feels and I'm gonna fight my roommate on this, because I personally don't agree. This controller is the drizzling shits. I'm sorry. But it feels horrible. It feels awful, dude. Specifically in the triggers and the sticks. Because they have much more resistance than the normal DualShock 3. And the normal DualShock 3 is already pretty shit. So to be shitter than the DualShock 3 is a little bit of an accomplishment. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a tiny bit of an accomplishment. But like, they didn't have... Hold on just a second. Give me just a second here. There. Alright, Road to WrestleMania. We gotta make a new character, chat. Versus Undertaker.
I'll beat anyone you put in front of me.
I think that this is like kind of a cool like lineup too. For the for the characters you could choose to go up against the Undertaker.
I'm breaking Undertaker's streak.
Like Kofi Kingston in 2010.
I'm breaking Undertaker's streak.
And John Morrison.
I'll beat anyone you put in front of me.
Nick Nemeth.
I'm breaking Undertaker's streak.
And Ron Killings if they committed. I don't know if Ron could do it if they committed. But I think it would at least be fun if they did.
I'll beat anyone you put in front of me.
But of course, we're not going to play as any of those characters. We're choosing our own. But we need to make it first, I guess. Now, I have one in mind already. It's someone from the extended Gitsyverse. I'll need to introduce you to him, for anyone that's not aware. There's a little man by the name of the CONTROLLAR. And this is the entire... And this right here is the entire Gitsy episode on him. This is the entire episode. That's it. That's all you get. We gotta read these again. Because it seems like Video Game Man contestants Bleep Blorp Kaboom Video Game Kings match controllers. We have what seems to be a man in superhero getup, right? Like a masked man in a striped top with long sleeves and a cape, holding what looks to be a controller. I think that might be one. He's holding it like you would hold a Wiimote, but I'd imagine that this was filmed like before the Wii was invented, because gaming in the Clinton years is all stuff from like, you know, the 90s. And I guess he's here playing with some other hardcore gamers from the 90s. So like really like hardcore 90s gamers here. I don't know how he can play with that mask on, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know who this man is. This man is an enigma. He is Edward Nigma right here. And I have absolutely no clue what I don't know what his deal is. I don't know if he's actually called the CONTROLLAR. But it's literally like THEE CONTROLLAR. Not controller. CONTROLLAR. With an A instead of an E. I don't know if that's his name. I don't know if he's called something else. Why does he have what seems to be a mask on with a sports helmet? Why does he have a cape? I don't know. I don't know his name. I don't know who he is. I don't know why he's there. He just is. And we're gonna make him. And we're going to make him here in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Because this man, we will find out everything about him here in SVR 2011. Because he will be the one to break Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania 26. These feel like fake pages out of a video game. Yeah, this is like I found a game called The Controller at a garage sale, and I put it in my Super Nintendo, and then the titular character came out of the screen and started bleeding at me. It turns into a shitty creepypasta. Also, hi Ashley, welcome to tonight's Longboy Club meeting. It just turns into a shitty creepypasta. Rey Mysterio just beat Undertaker to become the WWE champion in my 2004 TNA save just now. Oh wait, you actually got to Mania? I've not gotten there yet. One shudders to imagine what inhuman thoughts lie behind that mask. What dreams of chronic and sustained cruelty? Reference. What is it a reference to? That feels almost like Silent Hill. Which would be timely since there's a new Silent Hill game out. And I heard it's very good. Unfortunately, I'm a big baby. That happened at No Mercy. Meet the Pyro, TF2. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. And then he's in like Candyland or some shit. It happened at No Mercy. I'm about 6 months into this save. Oh, okay. Well, we were talking about The Undertaker, and I thought you were... Like, I was talking about The Undertaker streak. It's such a hard line, in my opinion. But we're gonna find out exactly what inhuman thoughts lie behind the mask here tonight, when we make him. Now, the question is, do we even have enough things to make him with? Because the hurdle that we often run into with these games is there just is not enough stuff to make these characters with. At least we wouldn't get that stuff until, like, later on in the games. Until we got to, like, the 2K games. I don't like to give 2K much of anything because 2K is unbelievably dog shit. But if there's one thing I will give them, is that they know how to make a creation suite. Extremely powerful, but that's probably nostalgia clouding me. It still is! It still is powerful. The only issue is that 2K kills it every... I mean, like, they kill it for every single game after a year and a half on the market. I played this a lot as a kid on the PS2. Same. I absolutely played the ever-loving shit out of this game. As Patchwork Queer said, the world really has gone downhill since the PS2, and I could not agree more. We need to go back... We need to go back to memory cards. We need to go back to Halo Master Chief, to Halo Chief, on cans of Mountain Dew. We need to go back to the McDonald's GameCube kiosks that would reset every 10 minutes and make me sad that I have to keep replaying Seaside Hill and Sonic Heroes. We gotta go back to that. Never forget what they took from us, chat. Because it was a lot. Speaking of Sonic. Alright. I feel like I need to bring the CONTROLLAR back up. Hold on, chat. I need to bring him back up, for he is my canvas. I gotta bring him back up. Alright. Hold on just a second. He really is a Bob Ross painting. You can use whatever colors you want. I can! I can. I mean, one of the colors is very obviously white. Oh yeah, I should probably put that not there. put him right there. Anything we get wrong, it's not a mistake. It's a happy accident. Genuinely, I can just put him under whatever, like, skin tone I want, too. This dude has a very long head. I think we need to give him a long face, chat. Like that. That's his face. Hair, there's really no hair on him. No scars, no tattoos. Listen, even though we don't see him, even though we don't actually see any skin on him, we gotta give him, you know, the gamer battle scars. Something like that. That right there is from a really tough match of Killer Instinct. Arcade edition. So you know that he was in the goddamn trenches. I'm doing that. While he studied the blade, he suffered an accident. Which other ones do we want? I think that one too. That one was from Primal Rage. Pretty sure. It was orange, too. Because he got some Cheeto dust on it. Can I put scars on his back? Holy what? Holy shit! No way! And that was from the Cheetos Max that he got. Something from fucking Warhammer 40k Purity Seal have an ass. Well, he's something from Mortal Kombat, maybe?
Ara.
Oh, homunculus. Didn't realize that you had that. Didn't realize you had that in you. Something from Mortal Kombat, maybe? This man lives and breathes Cheetos. He's a man after your own heart, homunculus. Let's see. I think that's pretty good. Headwear. It's gotta cover up his entire fucking face, brother. The entire face needs to be covered. If it doesn't cover up the whole face, I'm not interested.
Ace icon in the streets, but give me Cheetos in my sheets.
For sure, brother. No, come on, we got it, dude. No, please. Is this really the best I'm gonna get? This man had no discerning features on the mask. It was just a complete, featureless black mask. No features, it is just the black mask. Yeah, I was gonna say you could fake it. Yeah. I'm just gonna fake it, dude. We just need to cobble together the parts to make it look a little bit like what we're going for, I feel like. Oh my god, that's perfect. is how it was done back in the day. Exactly. We just gotta cobble it together from like bits and pieces we have in the garage. Honestly, that's not too bad. Like, honestly, that shit is not too bad. Yeah, baby. Alright, we need to put some, like, designs on this, too. He has, like, lines along the top. Do we have anything that resembles that? It was, in fact, how it was done back in the day. I said a few times, though, even though I really like this game, it is not my first wrestling game. That honor, unfortunately, goes to SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. And after a game like that, I'm surprised I'm still here. Because that game is, quite bad. It's quite bad. Wait. No! Mine was the Jack's Pacific Plug and Play, if you want to count that. My first wrestling game was SVR6, still one of my favorites. That one is a stone cold classic, yes. That's actually that's actually incredible. Give him the clown nose. Yeah, for some reason, also looks like he has like a racing helmet on too. What I really need is something that... What the... Chat. I think that... I'm pretty sure that this right here can nullify everything that we just did with the masks. Just put like a kidnapper's bag over your face. We're gonna delete these parts here. Yeah, I was about to say. This right here is literally just a kidnapping bag. Headwear. Can't you put logos over the accessories? I think I can. Let me see. Can I design the bag over my head? I could have sworn you can. We need to draw a Gira logo. We do, yeah. Now this guy here, it's gotta be completely dark, dude. We, have all the other wrestlers wear Gira's merch. Oh no, am I taking something to modern games for granted? I think you are. I think you might be, brother. Also, what do you identify as? Because usually, like, my shorthand is just calling people brother. Brother. Even when they aren't men. So, it's like if you're not, like, a man and you don't find that comfortable, then let me know, because I don't know. Oh, I go by he, him. Okay, cool. Cool. I just wanted to make sure. How about this? We'll put a pin in the kidnapping bag, and we'll return to it here in a moment. We have like other things we also need to do. All right, so he's got like a loose-fitting shirt, it looks like. It's gotta have, like, stripes, you know? Come on, you gotta have a striped shirt in here. That's not vertical lines like a goddamn ref shirt. I found what's probably gonna be the closest that we'll get. Dude, there is no way. There's no way. Wait, can I put logos on it? So some of these things you can put logos on them, but others you can't. That's fucked up. Alright, well in that case, let's go back to tops. Brother. Yeah, he has like an ill-fitting shirt. It's long-sleeved. It's gotta have a pattern? Please. Oh god, we found it! Dude, we found it! Holy shit! Yeah! Let's go! Alright. What color? Alright. What was like the dark color on him? I'm pretty... If I were a man named the CONTROLLAR, I'm pretty sure it would be neon blue. I'm pretty sure it would be goddamn neon blue. Are we thinking that, chat? Do we need him to be like a Waldo-looking ass? Do we want to follow color theory or disregard it? I think for this we can disregard it. Usually I enjoy things being kind of uniform, but this is more or less a joke character. So... The CONTROLLAR asserts his control over the competition. He also seems to have what seems to be long pants. Wait, hold on. This is all wrong. This is wrong, chat. This is all wrong. Hold on just a minute. Because you may have noticed that the torso section of the shirt was striped. Meanwhile, the sleeves are white. So what we need to do is this. We need to add a vest on top, right? Have that be goddamn... Hold on. This. Wait. Which ones have patterns? This one? Do we have patterns? No, come on, no! His arms looked like stripes, but like you see it right there. Like you see his arms in the newspaper clip, right? Those are like white sleeves. Right? Or am I just talking mad shit? Paint tool. Gira is a joke character who became the GOAT. Nice line. When did Where's Waldo get a job performing medieval executions? Ever since the picture book business dried up, he's been having to find other ventures. Other money-making avenues. So wait, can I do, like, patterns? Wait, which ones can I do patterns for? So some, but not all of them, do patterns. Got it. That's fucking frustrating. Alright, well... Alright, I think this is probably the best we're gonna get here. I think that he's a blue man. Right there. Oh, but the picture book business hasn't dried up. Then why would he be doing medieval executions? Now he looks like a convict. Ah, yes. The classic convict color. Blue. This shit looks so scuffed, dude. Wow. He needs... I don't think he's got gloves there, to be fair. He's speedrunning hard time, you know. He's speedrunning hard life, you know. It's hard time. He's building his multimedia empire. Where do executions fit into the multimedia empire of Waldo T. Wears-A-Done? Of Waldo Wears a Lot. Where does that fit into the equation here? I want to play hard time. Alright. And he has, like, what seems to be... Here, I'm gonna go forward in the video a little bit. we gotta dissect this shit. It looks like... Hold on. It's hard to tell because of the angle. I don't know if he's got long pants. For the sake of just... God, those are barely better images. They're like about the same quality. But I'm thinking this, right? We gotta give him like baggy shorts. I feel like. These ones specifically. The ones where it looks like that the shit is like struggling to load in. Please, tell me there's a cape. There's gotta be a goddamn cape. Please. No. No! 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 Oh, you gotta be kidding me! No! What about jackets? Okay, we're kind of saved. There's gotta be a goddamn cape. Negative universe Ednamo. You're right. Alright, we got a couple choices here. What system was this on, Stev? It was on every console from the 7th generation. It was on PS2, it was on PSP, and it was on DS as well. Alright, let's see if we can change the color of it. This seems like an all black cape, chat. Evil Europe. Evil UK.
Hello, Mario.
Or as other people call it, the UK. Okay. Holy fucking shit. DS? That must have looked like crap. It's actually kind of a unique thing. Because it's honestly the closest that any of these games have come.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Hold on. It's honestly the closest that any of these games have, like, come to, like, a true, like, RPG experience, I would say. It's kind of like if wrestling games met The Sims. It's weird, but it's honestly really cool. I liked it a lot as a kid. I've been wanting to, like, stream the DS games at some point because I have a lot of nostalgia for those. Oh my goodness gracious, he is perfect. Not quite, though. The pants are the best part. They look like they're struggling to load in. They, like, look like the graphics haven't loaded in for them yet. We need a striped thing for him. But the problem is, everything from this point on is just gonna clip through his dumbass bag. He's Manchester Black. Malachi Black's evil British brother. Okay, before I commit to this fully, let's see if there's, like, anything else here that we can do. My man looks very malnourished. Someone needs to deliver him a sandwich right quick. Okay. I think this is about as good as we're gonna get. I'm not gonna lie. Because I can't put logos on him in this way. Does he wrestle with shoes, or is he, like, barefoot, chat? Or is he like a child and he just goes in with socks on? These are socks? Shoes. Shoes? Got it. Gotta give him the thigh highs, though. This flag texture... This flag texture gives me, like, New Legacy Inc. Snitsky PTSD. Yeah, I want to give him the thigh highs. But do we give him, like, the most ill-fitting shoes? Something like this. I do agree with you that he should go in with shoes, that way he'll still be as covered up as possible. Something for give him sneaks, something for Bronson Reed to steal. Those are some fucking sneakers right there. Wow. Much like the rest of him, it also needs to be, like, white and blue. Maybe with a splash of black in there, too. These are gonna be, like, completely garish shoes. Oh, goodness me. Wow. The tribal thief. These are like some Cena shoes. We need like the blue laces too. Wow, this man is... Wow. I don't know if we did what we set out to do, but we did something. Wait! Shit! This is... I knew something was off. It's the top.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Because now that I have a good look at him, that's not a striped shirt, it's just white at the top for some reason. God damn it. Hold on. Hold the fucking phone. James Gunn really I've been making my way through Peacemaker Season 2 and God, it's funny. James Gunn really shines. I'm pretty sure that especially after, that and Superman, and taking, like, all of his other work in, like, superhero films into consideration, I think he might just be the best at this. I think he might just be the best at writing superhero fare. You know? He might honestly just be the best at it. Okay, unfortunately, it looks like we're just gonna have to settle for this. The Where's Waldo fucking stripes. Alright. There he is, chat. That's him right there. That is the CONTROLLAR. Gotta give him a fitting pose. You know what? I'll go ahead and give him some gloves, too. Can I give him gloves? Arm wear. Hands. Both hands. So that way he can... So that way he can steal shit without being tracked. Honestly, this is perfect. This right here is based. Let's see. That is a crazy Dot Gallows sign. Future Raw guest host. Oh boy, this is from that era, huh? #1 contender. Put him in a body bag. That feels very fitting. They portray another Earth and pick up the dimensional rift Peacemaker is using and compare it to Luthor nearly tearing the world in half with it. I know it follows on from Superman. So, at least from that respect, it must have been, like, easy to, like, make something like that. Or at least it must have been easy to, like, connect the two to each other. My sign is better than yours. I like that. Oh my god, I can make my own. Yes! Oh god, right. This was in the middle of the Raw guest host era. I'm watching Brian Zane review every episode of it. And I forgot that, like, I hate people who make signs because you can't see them. It's a real good reuse of something from the first season that wasn't meant to be that. Again, I just think that James Gunn might just be the fucking best at this. Would you like to copy another attire? Copy the ring attire. Not only that, but copy it for the cinematics as well. The CONTROLLAR can only be edited with the edit ring attire selected. I know! Because, like, he's really good at writing something that is... at writing something that feels, like, true to a comic book story. Something that's, you know, more campy and more, like, earnest. As well as something with, like, a lot, like, of emotional depth. Something like Guardians 3. Which was, like, just basically Rocket, like, exploring his trauma, basically. I love the struggling to load elements. It's very nostalgic. Wait, did we actually go through a whole loop? We went through a whole loop of Apatos. Nice.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Alright, well, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead, we'll run the ad, and then we have some more work to do with
It's break
chat.
time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rules on it for this. I swear, if it's the CONTROLLAR, after we just spent this entire time making them.
In Tasmania by
Okay,
Sunset,
good.
basically all Taz needs to do is grab kiwis and avoid vehicles on the road.
I was like actually a little scared that we were going to get the CONTROLLAR again.
Select on the title screen. Press AY, AY, XY, BARL. The screen will shake and you will be able to select any level of the game. This feature will be much appreciated by players who will find that Tasmania is boring at times. Bottom line, Tasmania is easy to beat with stage select.
Is it really? It is. It is easy to beat with stage select, but at that point, every game is. At that point, every single game ever made is easy to beat with a stage select code. This is the entire ending. Actually, I'm not even gonna lie, when you said that you love the struggling to load elements, I thought you were referring to the CONTROLLAR's pants. Because, again, it just looks like... It just looks like the graphics on the CONTROLLAR's pants are struggling to load in. Cena's at 99 pay-per-view wins compared with the all-time ever for 107 for The Undertaker. You know, maybe he would have gone more than if they didn't fucking turn him heel and fuck his run. I'm convinced that Triple H took power just to fuck Cena's run.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Because ever since, like, they fucked Cena's run, I feel like people have seriously turned on Triple H ever since they messed up Cena's run. Let's do abilities. Gotta give him resiliency. Kip up. Outside dives, springboard dives. I like outside dives. Ring escape. Three finishers when you have a full momentum meter. The fired up ability is disabled during Royal Rumble matches. Fired up. Move Thief. I like that. Wait, how do you do Move Thief? Let me see. Well, momentum meter is in signature or finisher state. Cena's got 3 dates left in his retirement run. With the amount of shows he has left, he can't beat Taker. He cannot beat Taker. No. Unless they add more shit to his time. Which, you know, they might. But pretty unlikely at this stage. I feel like with someone like the CONTROLLAR, he has... but no charisma. It's high stats and everything, but his charisma is dog shit. I'll give it a 20. Cool. I think that that's pretty good, chat. Hold on. How do I change his size? There you go. We'll make him buff. Shape. Gigantic traps. I swear Crown Jewel wins are a fever dream. Unless he wins the WWE Championship and says he'll stay until he loses it. Which you never know, he might. But I did love Styles and Cena's match. I heard it was very good. Unfortunately, I've not really been keeping up with WWE because, you know, for WWE. But I have heard that Cena and Styles' final match was quite good. How do I like height? The CONTROLLAR looked like that he was like 6'6" or super heavyweight. Wait, how short can I go? Oh goodness me. I think that he's at least 6 feet tall. 251 pounds. I think 251 is pretty good. There you go. Alright, cool. He's ready. I love that Styles came to that match donning his old TNA gear and And the introduction scene in Rome for a mentioned Bullet Club, LOL. Oops, you can't say that. The CONTROLLAR. Same name for the abbreviated name. The Control. Audio name. We have the controller. Or just controller. Alpha. Icon. Mr. Amazing. The dominant. I mean, when you look at the controller, that's a man that knows how to dominate. Or the masked man is pretty good. Parts unknown. I don't think that's where he's from. I think much like the Yeti Jr. He's from Wyoming. Actually, no. No. We need to do it in Maryland because that's where Gitsy was filmed. Baltimore, Maryland. There you go. He's on Raw. He's a Raw man. How about where's the CONTROLLAR from? He's Woodman. Because he's out there repping George Wood. He looks unfinished. I love him very, very much. Wow. He, like, actually looks unfinished. It's incredible. Great. Dude, I've been spoiled by, like, modern consoles and games because everything just saves and loads so quick now. Freedom moveset. I don't really care about his moveset. What I care about is finisher. Let's do... I think we gotta create the sequel to last time. I think he's through playing around! Cole saying a DDT finisher. I know the cadence of that shit too. I played these games so much, okay? We gotta bring back the sensual eye poke, chat. How slow can we make this shit? I'm pretty sure. Okay. Buzzsaw kick, eye rake, front kick to the groin, I think is pretty good. We need to make everything, like, incredibly fast after this part. No, that right there is the finish. Oh god, you got the cadence so perfect, holy crap. Alright. GirafaStev, you are the replacement for, checks notes. Michael Cole. Just give me your best audition tape. I think he's through playing around! Absolutely perfect. Your check will be in the mail, Stev. Congratulations. Cinema, in fact. His finisher's gotta be a submission. He needs side control. What do you mean he needs to control the side? So, like, we need to have a bunch of, like, attacks to the groin, right? Kneel down, groin strike. It's just gotta be, like, all of this, right? It's gotta be, like, all of, like, the dirty ones. So this is what we have so far, chat. This right here is what we got so far. We gotta reposition them. I figured you do famous fighting game moves or something. No. In my head, the CONTROLLAR is just a guy, you know? We don't know anything about him. How about this? We'll look through it, it depends on what we have, right? Because I would really like... I just think it's funny for, like, all of this shit to, like, just crescendo into a goddamn, schoolboy. This is what we have, okay? I don't know, I think that's pretty sick. Hold on. I want to replace the part. We gotta pin him into a victory roll. Master of the small package. I mean, that's a famous fighting game move, right? Like kicks to the groin. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. We can either do that or we could do this too. Because like Scorpion spits fire, right? Well, how about this? Instead of fire, it's poison fog. He spits that Mountain Dew at you. Johnny Cage does the splits while hitting the groin. Well, there you go. See, it works out just fine. and then we go into the schoolboy. Bam. That's your finisher. We can hit him with the side effect. All that shit for a side effect. A super kick. All that shit for a super kick, too. Sweet shin music. Throat thrust. Wait, does he do split? No way! No way, we gotta dude, that's awesome. That's literally Johnny Cage splits. Asuka used the poison mist. Yeah, we get it, she's Japanese. Aw. She is, but, you know. Twist of Fate. And look at all of this, we really were, like, spoiled in future games. Even though this is more than 2010, it's still not too terribly much, is it? Got the stroke there. Samoan Spike. Running STO. RKO. Wait, what are you saying hell yes to? I think this game's moves got reworked because they were outdone. What? The same goddamn DDT animation I've seen in every single game. Hell yes to the throat thrust splits. Taken after his favorite character of all time, Johnny Cage. That looks like an Orton move. Oh, what? Like the fucking DDT animation that I said I've seen everywhere? I mean, I have. It's like oddly sensual, and then a bunch of dick kicks. And then miss, and then that. Well, actually, no. No, we can't do that. The miss makes no sense. The miss makes absolutely no sense. Because why would we have mist coming out of our mouth when we have a mask on, right? That makes no sense. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly what I was thinking. Like, we would just be misting ourselves. He'd just be spitting it in his face. He cut a hole in the mouth. Yeah, it's like a little ventilator. There you go. It really aligns this up very well for the pin. Cool. I think finisher complete. Please create a name for this finisher or select the name from the list. All in. Ah! The controller's all elite. Wait, can I make my own name? Create an original name. I have a name. The Mist Hole. Yeah, it's the Mist Hole. Total Control. Total Control is the name of the finisher, chat. It's total control over your present and your future. Specifically, your ability to mate. One of the biggest things I miss from this game is creative finishers. Same. Because, like, you can just create ridiculous shit like this. Are you sure you want to overwrite? Yes, of course I do. Total Controller! Should it be Total Controller? This bout was the 9th TLC match, huh? Alright, we'll do Total Controller. Oh, young Adam Copeland. This wasn't even young Adam Copeland, it was younger Adam Copeland. I gotta friggin' edit the finisher. It'll be Total Controller. Total Controller. No! It's gone! Total Controller. Or red shirt. I didn't start watching WWE fully till like 2011 or so. I'm around the same, actually. This is Dominic being a tween era. Yeah, that was when Dominic was a tween at that point. But I don't think that I don't think we would see him again until like actually no, we saw him. Because Ray's family was invoked during his feud with, you know, CM Punk and the Straight Edge Society. Alright, we have one more thing we gotta do, chat. We gotta make an entrance for this guy. We gotta make an entrance for the Control. God, he looks like that he's gonna be held hostage. He looks like I'm gonna have to pay a ransom. It's hard to believe he's gotten so good. No, it is. It's hard to believe that he is like a full-time wrestler. Like when he came in, I thought he was going to be like a total gimmick. But no, he's like seriously come into his own. And people talk about him separately from Ray. Which is honestly insane. All right, I'm going to put on some like music while we do this. I don't know why that's the default one. What is he doing with his hand? Also, keep the default music, please. What, nothing? Oh, wait, hold on. He was super over in Perth. He was! I catched a few glimpses of WWE 3 2011, but I only remember a few things. Big Show versus Cena, CM Punk and JBL on the contract signing, and Kane holding a mask on SmackDown. That's like some incredible patchy memory there. Wow. Alright, we're gonna turn up the music here. Turn up the music! Light up the crowd! Match options. So, like, the annoying thing with this game is that entrance music and menu music are tied to the same setting. So, that means that while we are doing this, I'm going to need to mute the game audio until we get to a safe area. So that way we can hear the music. There's a lot of sub-menus here. Anyways, create an entrance. Freaking copyright, exactly. I mean, I want this to be on the VOD channel, and if it's gonna be there, then it can't be doing that shit. It can't be doing it. Alright. Alright, what does the default music sound like? This is the default, huh? It's got that scumbag guitar riff there. That's very, it's very much the style of the time, with the onion on the belt and everything. Oh boy, the S chants. The CONTROLLAR. Styling back the hair he doesn't have. Yes. That's great. I'm judging all these entrance animations based on, like, the first 10 seconds. Like, if they don't grab me, I'm just not gonna... If they don't grab me right away... Wait, is that Edge? No, that's Kurt Angle. No, that's not Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle points to the sky. He also has ones that shoot upwards, not just on the sides. What is this? He does the twirl around because he can't see shit. I think keeping him just as a normal dude as well in this situation is pretty, like, apt as well. I, like, enjoy this one where he's just, like, intently focused on getting down to the ring. Hello, Idea Maker. Welcome to tonight's Longboy Clovey. I enjoy this, like, idea here where, like, it just looks like he's being told...
Hello, Mario.
Like, step by step, how to get to the ring. Now, look down to the camera. Now look away from the camera. Now get down. And you're in the ring. Get ready for the match, kid. like he has to rely on like the producer's directions to get to the ring. That's why he's like looking around everywhere, even though he can't see shit. Also, hello there, Banquo. Welcome to tonight's Slumboy Club meeting. We found him, huge, jacked man. Well, in this case, it's just huge man. All right, I think that this is good. Vance Archer. Oh God. Clean-shaven Lance Archer is insane. Wipe your feet on the apron. How can he do that when he doesn't even know where the apron is? Why did they have Vance shave? Why did they have Lance Archer shave? Fitting since he'll be facing The Undertaker eventually. Dude, they like sabotage Lance Archer. No fucking cap. That's insane. Do we have any like generic ones? Ooh, Chavo. Christian Old. Christian. Did they like show anything from like? Oh my God, yes. Christian. Let's see. David Hartsmith. No, it's gonna show him. Edge Old. No. I feel like that the best one to show here would obviously be Santino Marella. Well, at least we know that he's Italian. Under the mask. Oh, that's actually sick. Tron's from his previous run. It kind of is, yeah. Wait, hold on. Does it, like... Does it have, like, a ramp graphic? Oh, no. I mean, if anything, this right here is what Vince McMahon always wanted for Christian. For you to not be able to fucking see him. I don't think putting a blue dot over his face is enough, pal. We gotta put a whole ass bag over him. I just don't like looking at him. So we should see none of him. Ever. A blue dot isn't enough. We need to hide his whole face, his whole head, underneath a black bag. Oh no, no. Nope. You Captain Riz, man. That's the controller to you. Alright, I think that we're good to go, honestly.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Okay, well, we need to run the ad. Here, let me guess where we need to go, and then I'll run the ad. So that way, right when we come back, we can get started. It took us almost 2 hours. But them's the breaks over here on the Long
Where
Boy
the
Club.
heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. We always take way too long to do shit over
Psygnosis
here.
offers
the same experience in Formula 1 racing. In fact, the games are so similar that once again we question why this genre is so popular. We have yet to see any tracks that blow us out of our chairs. No huge loops, no gigantic ramp launches, no driving through waterfalls, nothing imaginative. These games are supposed to be fun first and simulation second. Where's the creativity?
Why
not have a game where you have to find and drive to the hospital before your wife delivers her baby? Now that would be fun. Rather than compete against other racers, you'd have to avoid getting arrested by keeping below the speed limit, obeying the right-of-way laws, and not tailgating. Any foul up and the cops will pull you over. The best part is that you don't know how to get to your location. You have to read the road signs and hope you explore in the right direction. Anyway, Formula 1 has nice colorful graphics and a large number of tracks, 17 to be exact, but it's still a jar, folks. A jar all the way. Whoa. What happened to me, chat? I just, I blacked out for a second. I heard George Wood's dulcet tones. And suddenly I was transported into the Woods realm. It's a blessing and a curse, unfortunately. But listen, Psygnosis did offer that shit. They offered much the same experience. And that's just a fact that we
oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Have we yet figured out what a jar means? I've not figured it out yet. I'm pretty sure that's something that only the big man himself knows. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. The CONTROLLAR shows us what's under the mask, what's truly underneath the mask on his road to WrestleMania 26 style. Let's do it. I remember these storylines in particular being really, really good. So I am excited to see these once again with all of you. The CONTROLLAR, only rides in style. A high-profile gamer of his caliber can only ride in style to Montreal, Ontario, to Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
We modeled our backstage area, so I decided to call all superstars personally to fill them in.
I don't want to hear from you, brother.
Whether it's in the ring or in front of the camera. But otherwise, your time is your own. Go to your locker room, stop in and talk with your GM, do whatever you want.
I'm about to hold up this show for a title shot, brother. Don't you test me. Alright. Here we go. This right here is kind of... this right here is kind of like the big angle for this show.
Live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, as we kick off the road to WrestleMania. And along with the title showdowns and Money in the Bank ladder match, we continue another big tradition.
Some lucky superstar will try to break Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. And this year, we're even holding a tournament to see who it'll be.
Tonight is the first round, with 4 determined superstars competing. We open the show with the first match of that tournament, Triple H against The Miz.
Oh, no. Not The Miz at WrestleMania. Oh, boy. But yeah, I'm gonna be taking my time with these stories because... What the... Welcome to Monday Night Raw. The backstage area can be confusing at first, so if you need help finding your way around, pull up your map via your phone to find your current objectives and room locations, pal. Hey, jeez. Alright, so yeah, we actually have, like, a few things that we can do here on the week-to-week, I remember. In fact... doing the side stuff in this is actually required to unlock everything in the game. However, if you walk up to most people, they'll just tell you to fuck off. Hi.
Chris Jericho? What brings you to Raw?
Not that it's any of your business, but consider
I
me
work
a
here,
talent
brother.
scout. I know I'm gonna win SmackDown's tournament, and I wanted to see if anyone here on Raw would provide a challenge. So when you go out there tonight, know that the best in the world will be watching you closely. Don't crack under the pressure, okay?
Can I push him? No, no way. Wait, what happens if I push him again? Come on, brother. I'll fight you. I'll fucking fight you, brother. You want to scout talent? There ain't no bigger talent than the CONTROLLAR. Once your opponent's health reaches 0, hit him with a finisher or strong strike to win. Alright, here we go. It's like, how do I know when his health reaches 0? There's not really any, like, indicators. Y2J to Le Champion. Le Champion in this case being the CONTROLLAR. Oh my god, we got, like, the Cena... we got the Cena shoulder tackle. Honestly, that's fucking perfect for the CONTROLLAR, I'm not even gonna lie. Oh my god, that's dusty as hell. Wait. What can I do? What the fuck? Wrestling in a suit is crazy. Well, listen, I provoked him, you know? Holy shit! Wow! New Jack City. Come on. Give some of this ham. Wait. What? What the fuck? Okay, cool. Alright, I'm picking you up. We're gonna hit you with total what the? That is not my finisher. Oh wait, I need to apply it to him. Hold on. CONTROLLAR. You just made the list! And we got him. What do I even get for that? What do I even get for just starting shit with Jericho? What the? Welcome to Monday Night Raw, yeah. Congratulations! You earned 50 SP! Go to the training room to upgrade your attributes. I turned to Triple H there. So wait, hold on. I'm gonna save first before we continue on. And Jericho just continues on like nothing ever happened. Alright. That's a good thing you did a practice run. Whether you did this for a practice run. Yeah, I know. Like, I just wanted to start shit with Jericho, and now I know that we didn't, like, apply the right stuff. You get put on the list! Will I get claimed for Shad's theme? Because this stuff is... Because this shit is... It sounds generic enough to where I won't get claimed for it, I feel like. Let's see. Special moves. We need total control, brother. Total CONTROLLAR. Where is it? What? Where is it? I'm sorry. Where is my shit? Okay, there you go. Total CONTROLLAR. Cool. Alright, we got it. You miscreated finisher. If anyone asks, you're tributing for him. I am. Yes. Shad Gaspard, you just made the list of really cool people. DX back on top. I think this game was like released after... Holy shit, Cena. I think this was after Sean's last match, wasn't it? Did you know an astronaut on Apollo 13 was Jack Swinger? Or rather... Swigert? Sounds just like Jack Swagger! I will never forget, like, Jack Swagger's promo against the fucking goddamn Muppets, of all people. Shad was a god of... From a recent NL stream, Shad was a god of war. I'm pretty sure I can go into, like, all of the different rooms, too. There'll be people there for me to talk to. Hello, Miz.
So tell me, who do you have in the first round?
It's me and Randy Orton.
Orton, huh? That's cool.
Man, dude, you didn't even let me talk!
I'm taking on Triple H. Sure, anyone can play the game, but it takes someone truly awesome to beat the game.
Should I pick a fight with him too, chat? Or no? I'm pretty sure you just gotta tell me to fuck off.
Bye. Bye. What don't you
Aw,
understand? The
man.
or the bye. Bye.
Yeah, dude. I was literally just standing here, and you're like, go and jump off a cliff right now. Hello, Finlay.
You need to get out of my sight right now.
I think you need to eat total controller. I couldn't do it to Chris Jericho, so I guess you will have to be the one, Finlay. Get over here. Pick a fight with everyone. I'm wondering if, like, I'll get something for, like, just picking a fight with everybody under the sun. Ow! I mean, like, I already, like, outclass Finlay in every single way. So... my only thing is that I don't want to get, like, bored of this. Like, immediately. You know? Holy shit, AA! Wow. This is, like, really easy, right? I feel like that this is a little too easy. Alright, what happens if I, like, just bring him over here? Can I, like, just grapple him over here and then it will do something? I'm pretty sure I could just grapple him here and then it will fucking do something. Hey! Hey, Lesnar! Lesnar suplex, wow. Finlay single-handedly turned the divas into wrestlers. Yeah, just about, huh? He honestly did quite a lot. Which is why I'm going to sign into my TNA save. So that way we can build our women's division. Because right now we have Gail Kim and one other person. What the fuck? The Control wins. I mean, Finlay is pretty low in the overall, so it makes sense that that's the one. It makes sense that that's the one that ends him. It's like... hold on just a minute. I gotta do it on my 2010 mobile phone here. Congratulations, I earned even more SP. Hey, Finlay.
You need to get out of my sight right now.
You know, that's fair. That, my friend, is very fair for you to not want to speak with me right now. So wait. I could have sworn that there's, like, just, like, multiple things that you can do in the backstage here. Him and Regal are so underrated. They really are. They really, really are. Here, let's see if... see if there's anyone here that I could speak with. Hello, Randall.
I'm a lot smarter and stronger than I was back at WrestleMania 21. In fact, I'm the most dominant superstar in the WWE. I'm going to prove it by winning this tournament and destroying Undertaker. You'd be smart to stay out of my way.
Bro, you didn't even let me get a word in edgewise. Okay, fine. You know what? I'll fucking see you in the ring. What? Tyson Kidd. Hello.
Get lost.
Why does everyone... Dude, why does everyone in the backstage hate me? Like, everyone in the backstage area just friggin' hates me. In the green room.
Hey, Edgewise. It's funny because rated RKO was a thing.
Oh, you're so smart. You're so smart, bud. Bautista! What the f- Okay. I see how it is. You're not gonna make Guardians for another 4 years. What? Are you gonna get in my face, brother? Hey, man.
Oh, you seem to have a spring in your step. Everything going well, I take it?
Yeah, I can't complain.
Well, I'm sure Randy Orton is looking to change that. No offense, but I hope I don't see you later.
What happens if I talk to him again? Is he gonna tell me to, like, get lost? No, he won't. I can actually level up again.
I was saying Bautista.
I was saying Bautista. What a mark for the legend. What a mark for the legend killer. Yeah, everyone's negative towards you if they've got no special or scripted dialogue for you. Yeah, I know that. Ah, it's Chick Magnet Punk. Hey.
Get away from me.
Real mask. Crimea River. Alright, what if I talk to my general manager? Who is my Oh, no. No! I don't want to talk to you.
I'm excited about starting the Raw portion of this tournament to decide who will take on The Undertaker at WrestleMania. How do you feel about
that? Bitch is back!
I'll beat anyone you put in front of me, including Undertaker.
That's quite a bit of confidence. You'll be thrown into the fire early as I have you going against Randy Orton in the first round tonight. But understand that whatever hardships I put you through on the road to WrestleMania pales in comparison to what The Undertaker is capable of.
Man, my guy really has a face for radio and a voice for books. Alright, I'm pretty wait, what's over here? I literally thought that said transgender room for a second. It would've been awesome. Oh yeah, I've already been in here. Just have, like, portraits of the wrestlers over here. In the medical room. Or are we gonna do some, promo zone shit? Do we have anything in the promo zone for us to do? No, we don't. Not today. Hello, Eve Torres.
Are you in that tournament?
Sure am.
I wouldn't get anywhere near Undertaker. I mean, didn't he encase Paul Bearer in cement?
Yeah, he did. It was really fucking strange. That happened at the same time that the Big Show got tranquilized by Kurt Angle. Like an animal! What if we kissed in the WWE transgender room? Haha, just kidding. Unless... Wait, this is insane! Team Bourne versus Team Rhodes? Maurice versus Melina. Tournament number 1 round. Orton, Mike Time. How come Orton gets Mike Time and I don't? Mark Henry.
Undertaker encased Paul Bearer in cement. He got better.
He encased him in cement. He encased him in a load of cement. How come he gets Mike Time and the Controller doesn't? Especially after the match. Mike Time after the match. And cement. Oh my god, come. Do you want to leave the backstage area? You bet, brother. Upcoming match. Tournament round number 2. In a singles match. Alright, here we go. This right here is the Controller versus Randall Keith Orton. I hear voices! Oh, young Justin Roberts. Have any of you ever been to like an episode of Dynamite or Collision? Well, specifically Dynamite, because that's the show that Justin usually works. Literally during the commercial breaks, he'll spend time just like fraternizing with the fans and jaw jacking and stuff and pointing out signs. It's honestly like really wholesome. He seems to be a pretty fun person. And he also toured with Tool, one of my favorite bands, so forever based. I think one of these match cards on the board includes a few names who are not in the game. Same thing nearly 20 years later, yeah. I'm sure that Randy doesn't think it sounds like something that teenagers would listen to. Because that's why he didn't like his first theme, because it sounded like something that like teenagers would brood to. I don't know, I've done my fair share of brooding to voices. Back in ye olden days. Holy shit, it's Christian! What? That's not Christian!
The Masked Man.
Ah, but it so is, pal! It's Christian, but better! No longer Cage, but with a mask. It's the CONTROLLAR. Plus, Red Theory probably still gets revenue. They probably get, like, royalties up the ass.
Christian, at last you're in the mask.
You're in a mask. What the hell was that? Did you see that? Dude, are you seeing, like, the little, like, video screens above the crowd? That's crazy. It's like burning. Alright, we need music.
The next two gladiators step up to see who takes on the devil himself. If you ask me, the prize for winning this tournament is more like a punishment.
Nice.
Get ready, folks. Get ready.
Alright, what are my taunts? Nation. Again.
And that would hurt his hand.
It's CONTROLLAR.
Viper into the headlock. What impact to the head and neck.
Alright, what do I have? What can I hit him with at this point? Nice arm drag. Bring him up.
Lateral press.
Dude, that's not a lateral press, that's a pinfall. No!
Viper controlling the waist.
Please.
This is it. Here we go.
Yes! I think he's through playing around! This is an awful angle.
The masked man caught him. Orton's starting to feel the abuse he's taken so far.
Please let that be it. Fuck yeah! Oh boy, dude. Controlling the waist. Cole is putting you over. The CONTROLLAR is controlling the waist.
But he faces a tall task next week to see who will represent Raw. That's right. He'll face the Game, Triple H. Everyone in WWE wants a shot at Undertaker, it seems.
You're just gonna have to wait another year, Hunter.
Break the streak, Michael. You're assuming a lot. What if nobody can do it? Good night, everybody.
Production guy, hit my goddamn music. I don't miss that commentary. The commentary in this game is noticeably not great. Like, somehow even worse than how it was in previous SVR games. You don't even have variety between shows anymore. It's the same team for like every show. It's been that way for 15 plus years. I don't know, I miss when every show had a different commentary team. It helped with my immersion. Congratulations! You've earned 275 experience points. Dude, I don't think I'm gonna need those experience points. I'm just gonna be honest with you. How about this? In-game options. We're going to go ahead and switch it over to hard. That way it's, that way we have a little bit of challenge. Because the way it is right now, I'm not really a big fan of it. I mean, wait another year for another shot. I was about to say, We have to wait another year, brother. Also, for anyone who doesn't know, all the wrestling games I played, I treat them as if they're all interconnected. So this right here takes place in the same universe where Shining Wizard held the WWE Championship for over 3 years. Oh, okay, well. It takes place in the same universe where Shining Wizard held the WWE title for 3 years. It takes place in the same universe where Gira nearly killed Bruiser Brody in cold blood. It takes place in the same universe where he did kill Ricochet and Kazuchika Okada in cold blood. It's a very in-depth universe. Hi, Michael. How are you doing today?
You won and I lost last week?
Sure thing, bro.
A full moon or something.
Something around here is full of...
You don't have to worry about me, all right? I'm awesome, and that streak will never be broken.
Okay, brother. See you later. The best kind of headcanon, I can respect that. Also, hi, Dan. Welcome to tonight's Slumboy Club Me. Like, it's me, Scoob. Like, I'm the man behind the slaughter. I think those back alley Scooby snacks I bought were tampered with. Because the last thing I knew, I was stuffing kids inside robot animals. He is the man behind the mask. He is the controller. Alright, let's see if we can find anyone back here that's actually worth talking to. Hi, Jericho. What'd you think of my shit last week?
Against Orton last week. I just don't know if you can handle Triple H alone. So I'll tell you what. If you agree to help me win the tournament on SmackDown, maybe I'll give you an assist tonight. How does that sound?
It's the Giraverse. It is... yeah, it's the Giraverse. It is the Cursed Wrestling Universe. You know what? The Giraverse sounds really good. I think we helped Chris Jericho, honestly. You know, the CONTROLLAR, even though he's one of the biggest talents in wrestling here in 2010, he's still a little bit of a... He's still a little bit of a newborn babe. Rather a bit of a newborn babe, you know? Sorry. Ow. I nearly ran over my foot with my chair. Nearly ran over my foot with my chair there. Alright. Let's go and cooperate with them, yeah. Sure,
Smart
Jericho.
move there, sport. Don't you worry about a thing. Go out there and do your best. And if I see you need a hand, you'll see me out there.
Alright, brother. I mean, I doubt I'll need it. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I kind of doubt I'll need it. But, thoughts on Matt Pat and Megan Fox being cast as Toy Bonnie and Toy Chica? First of all, Megan Fox as Toy Chica is crazy. Second of all, I don't really have a lot of thoughts because FNAF really isn't something I'm too terribly into, if I'm being perfectly honest. Mostly because of Scott Cawthon being a gigantic gaping asshole. But, you know. I enjoyed the first FNAF movie for what it's worth. Wait, what's that? Dude, no way. Only at 7-Eleven. Well, joke's on you in my neck of the woods.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Aw, dang it. Oos. Oos. Triple H in his most dad attire of all time. Price down font. Alright, we gotta run the ad. It is in fact the Giraverse.
It's break time.
The
Where the
extended
heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
The extended Long Boy universe. I'm pretty sure this is one of mine. Yep, it's one of mine. Holy fucking shit. Okay. While the grapples aren't as good in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the game certainly comes out swinging, so to say. Henry's long-awaited second adventure begins with him and Lord Capon being sent to the gallows after getting into a fight with a couple of nasty ruffians. While there, Capon lets loose on Henry. Not even his dog is safe from the irate Lord's tongue lashing. It's ridiculous. Capon is one of the game's few love interests, and if you've watched our show long enough, you know I had to go with him. We can't show the sloppy wet kiss they share, but you know how much we love upsetting parents out there. We assure you, it's an incredible sight. Anyway, no amount of pearl clutching can taint the game's uniqueness. It sacrifices a lot for the sake of immersion, including an intuitive combat system. Slow, clunky sword fighting that seems to give you the short end of the stick more often than not. The controls are very knight-feeling and responsive, and the world reacts not just to your actions in combat, but in conversations too. There's a lot of talking in the game, and the writing is good. We had a lot of fun trying to impress some wenches with a well-timed poop joke. Everyone knows feces are funny, and in that area, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, well, delivers. I like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, chat. It's really good. Welcome back. Is he still shadowboxing? Okay, no, never mind. He's not. I was gonna laugh my ass off if he was still shadowboxing.
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Oh, he's doing it again. Usus.
I saw Jericho sneaking around out there. He better not try to interfere in our match, because I always have a way to even the odds.
Well, brother.
We're waiting every night to finally roam and invite newcomers to play with us. For many years we've been all alone. We're forced to be still and play the same songs we've known since the day an imposter took our life away. Now we're stuck here to decay. Please let us get in. Don't lock us away. We're not like what you're thinking. We're poor little souls who have lost all control, and we are forced here to take that role. We've been all alone, stuck in our little zone since 1987.
Let's try not to have giant stuff like that in there, unless it's for, like, comedic stuff. Hello, Mickey James.
I don't understand why you're trying to fight Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Looking not like Mickey James at all. I don't know. The CONTROLLAR knows that he can control the fates of destiny. Huh? That's insane. That's insane work. Wow. Price down fun is crazy. Raw Tournament Finals. Singles match. So am I gonna face, like, Jericho at the pay-per-view then? If I didn't accept that side quest, would it have just, like, made it so that I don't face him in the finals, or would it just be Jericho regardless?
Today's stream is brought to you by Slim Jim.
I don't know. That's not what the locker room said. The locker room said that today is sponsored by Slurpee and 7-Up.
And his opponent from Baltimore, Maryland, the Masked Man.
Dude, why is the music so quiet for us? That's like... Well, you see, it's quiet because they're going absolutely bananas for the CONTROLLAR. Say bleeps, blorps, braps. And they're like, yeah, yeah, whoa, woo! Yeah, baby! He's so over they drown out the music. That's why he's gonna beat Triple H here tonight.
Two of Raw's elite superstars are squaring
All elite? All elite, more like. The CONTROLLAR versus the game. There's so much you could do with this. The CONTROLLAR is in control of the game. I was about to say, this right here is a dream feud waiting to happen, brother.
And there's an effective counter by the Masked
Nation. Recognize that, Hunter?
And he lights up his chest.
I bet you do. Slap nuts. No way, am I gonna beat him just like that?
And Triple H kicks out at 2.
Come on, Hunter.
Oh man, that knee looks painful.
Oh man, Harley Race knee again. There's something about this Triple H here, in this game specifically, that looks almost sickly. I don't know how to like describe it, but he looks like unnatural to me. He looks like way too thin, right? What? Hey! That was not a goddamn rope break.
Why is Jericho out here? He has no business in this match.
Oh, what have I become? Now that I've betrayed. I was about to say, wait, is this a no DQ match? I mean, Triple H is definitely unnatural. That he is. Hey, thanks, bud. Thanks a bunch, dude. Couldn't have done it without you. Or maybe I could have, really, because so far the game has been pretty easy. Triple H is definitely unnatural. Universe mode cutscene. And that really was a universe mode cutscene there, yeah. The controller is pushing all the right buttons against the game here tonight, King. Yeah, well, I wish the controller would push my buttons. Woo! I didn't realize you swung that way, King. I'm proud of you. No way. I'm not winning against you like that, Hunter. Big strike. That was very anticlimactic. Wow. The control. Gotta have that 30-minute classic with the game. And another timeline we would have.
And now Triple H has been turned away. It seems like you only get one chance to break the streak. Of course, tonight he had a little help. Jericho had absolutely no business out here. I wonder if that favor will be reciprocated on SmackDown. I know I'll be tuning into SmackDown Friday, not to mention ECW tomorrow, to see who advances.
ECW? They have an ECW tournament? Bro, I gotta go help out Shelton Benjamin. I gotta go help out Shelton Benjamin win against fucking ECW. Or like fucking Vance Archer. Or whatever the heck. His terrible Titantron and shaved face. You no choice but to tune in. And Tucson, Arizona. It'd be amazing if you have the choice. I was about to say, at what point can I, like, just invade ECW and make that shit? Listen, the controller is gonna put more eyes on ECW than, like, WWE has ever cared to put on it. You want a recognizable face? Well, you'll get the exact opposite of that. No face. A recognizable no face on ECW. Against Rey... No! I don't want to cost Rey Mysterio. Come on, man. No. No. That makes me sick, dude. Damage Mysterio, who has dropped out of the ring and help Jericho win. However, if the referee sees you attacking Mysterio, Jericho will lose by DQ. Caution is advised. Last year's game did an ECW storyline, technically. The year before that did have an actual ECW storyline with Punk. But this year, they just didn't even try. Well, they technically have an ECW storyline because Christians. It's Christians. Starts with him being on ECW and then going to SmackDown. And ending how it should have with Christian as the ECW champion. Anyways, we have fight music that we need to do. I think minor circuit's good.
A sharp kick.
All right, Jericho, do your thing. Do the thing of Le Champion. And then we'll have a classic at the Royal Rumble.
Look at this. It seems it's time for Jericho's favor to be repaid.
Doing SmackDown dirty using that minor circuit theme, lighthearted. Listen, it's the best one, okay?
Did you hear the impact from that clothesline?
Nation.
Good reversal by Ray.
Listen, dude.
There's the quickness and agility.
Listen, Jericho, I'm not going to help you until you distract the ref.
Steps ahead and turn defense into offense in a moment's notice.
You gotta bring him back. Holy shit! What ring awareness from the Ayatollah.
Hello, Mario.
Hello, Devin. How you doing tonight? Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. We are helping out Le Champion as he takes on unfortunately, my goat right now. There's really nothing I can do about that. Y2J still got it. I did technically help out. I'm gonna stand out here and farm aura real fast.
Oh, the elbow.
Can I just like taunt indefinitely?
Walls of Jericho.
I did in fact help.
It's the walls of Jericho.
It is the walls of Jericho, but look at me, Nation.
I don't believe it. This one's over.
Yeah, we did it. We helped, kinda. Dude, why is every match in this so short?
Chris Jericho is happy with himself. If he's the best in the world at what he does, why did he need help? How many more favors will he cash in to beat Undertaker's WrestleMania streak? We'll see you next week.
One has to wonder. No, not Le Champion, but it's totally inspired by Country for Old Men persona, even though there's no resemblance at all. Was Jericho a wrestler before he was a rock star, or vice versa? I'm pretty sure that Jericho was a comedian before he was either a rock star or a wrestler. He was the man of 1,000 jokes. 1,004 jokes, really. With half of them being armbar. Alright, it should work. Commentary acknowledged your presence. It should have, yeah. Wait, did it help? Congratulations, you've earned that much. And why? New York.
We're here in New York City, and this crowd cannot wait to find out who Undertaker will face at WrestleMania.
We have the winners from all three brands scheduled to compete in a triple threat match to determine the Dead Man's WrestleMania opponent.
Dude, we didn't even get to Vladimir Kozlov!
Raw's qualifier. It's going to make a great main event.
Main event Vladimir Kozlov is cursed as hell. Truly. I love double E. What? From off camera. They totally unpersoned you. Kozlov's theme. Yeah, Pringles in a bowl. Oh, hey, it's Christian. Hey, Christian.
Beat it.
Alright, well, fuck you too. Go back to TNA. Go back to TNA before I freaking have you job out to your brother on the next story. Kozlov, Jericho, and some random dude we don't know how he got in the bill. What are you talking? This is the CONTROLLAR, dude. This isn't just some guy. It's the CONTROLLAR, and he's about to press all the buttons on the Raw roster here tonight. Not even just on the Raw roster, on the SmackDown and the ECW roster. Hey, Christian, how's your reunion with Edge going? Wink, wink. Well, you know, the CONTROLLAR, I heard you had a father. But unfortunately, Your father's dead. Urgh. Dude! Ow! 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 Wow! Hey! I know wrestlers are on a strict diet, but there's no way they're in New York and not getting a Brooklyn-style pizza. Unless they're vegan or lactose intolerant. Listen. Listen. I watched Maven's video. I know that they, you know, do something special for themselves every now and then, but it's mostly eggs, rice cakes, and protein shakes. So, controller. I'm adopted, I'm assuming.
But your father's dead, 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 but your father's dead, 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 dead.
I heard that you also had a father. But he's dead. Alright, here we go. Again. Ooh! Dude, that bell shot is crazy. It was me. I did it. God, that's gnarly. I know! Dude, what the hell? I'm gonna send your ass back to TNA, Christian. Get over here. Nation. Christian's about to get controllar'd. Dude, what the heck? Fucking Hurricane Ranas and jeans? You're getting slacks! Ow! Damn. I would respond to Christian by saying he was a self-righteous prick, so we both suffer. Don't piss me off. Wow. That's money. Wait, are you gonna go all the way? Yeah, you are. Thank you, Christian. Hey, Slapnuts! Talking to me? Yeah, you, Slapnuts! Ow! Ow! No! Ow, my neck. Does Homunculus have a favorite Vocaloid? Yeah, he enjoys any one of them that starts with M and ends with E. Their first name is Hatsune, and their last name is Miku. Then they like them. Otherwise, you gotta get that shit out of his face. Bring him back. Bring him to TNA, dude. We need someone to feud with Brian Knobs, brother. Oh my god, this really was the time when, like, Hogan was just bringing in all his friends. Wasn't it? My favorite thing about TEW...
They them pronouns. I am a non-binary icon.
Is Homunculus not a Tito fan? Listen. He'll be a fan of anything if you give him enough Cheetos. Alright? He's a very simple man. Or woman. Or non-specified gender. If you give them Cheetos, then that will be it. And that'll be, you know, it'll be GG.
I can accept losing to you last week, but you'd better go all the way in this tournament.
I mean, listen, man. Thank you for being such a good sport, Hunter. And not pulling out your golden shovel. That's honestly very uncharacteristic of you. Bodiless giraffe head creature. Listen. I may be a bodiless giraffe head creature. But at least I know how to not get buried by Triple H. Alright?
Get lost.
Hello, pre-Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Your existence is honestly an anomaly to me at this point. Because I was there. I was there when you were, like... I was there when you were in a mid-carder position. Well, no, the Homunculus does have a body. He has the body of a gamer. He has, like, little stubby arms, little stubby feet. A little stubby body. When do we get Stardust? Stardust doesn't happen for, like, another, like, 4 or 5 years, I think. just imagine this boy in like less than 10 years, it'll be double or nothing season for him. Yeah, 2014 to 2017. Yeah, we wouldn't get him for like 4 more years. Before that, we had Dashing Cody Rhodes, we had Scholar Cody Rhodes, we had On Dashing Cody Rhodes as well. My favorite part about Undashing Cody Rhodes is that when you play as him in the modern 2K games, when he's making his way down to the ring, like, the commentary is in stark contrast from how they commentated for him back in the day. Because back in the day, they treated his disfigurement like it was a shoot disfigurement. Whether it was face or heel commentary. But, like, on commentary in the 2K games,
there's a Stardust like, jobbing in the sky. He'd like to win the title, but McMahon won't let him try.
Well, that wouldn't happen for another 10 years, brother. Sorry to say. Hello. Hi.
Good luck tonight. Remember, you're on your home turf. That should give you the advantage.
Thanks, Stephanie. I have to say I'm a little surprised at how supportive you're being.
When someone from my brand does well, it's good for all of us.
Well, you know what? Maybe you could give me health insurance for that. Since I'm making Raw look so good, right? Oh, no? I'm still an independent contractor? Alright. Fine. I still find it bizarre he was treated like crap by WWE, went away, started AEW, and went back. Cody has, like, kind of an insane story when you think about it.
Somewhere else, like, not up all in my grill?
Okay, brother, fine. You know what? I saw what the Sexay Yete Jr. did to you last year, dude. You can't be treating me like that, otherwise I'm gonna wreck your shit. In fact, you know what? I will! I'm gonna wreck your shit. Right now. I'm gonna wreck your shit right now, because honestly, you deserve it. And you didn't learn from the Sexay Yete last year. So, we gotta do this shit again. We gotta do this shit all over again. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stardust? Ah, no, dude, running cross body from Santine. Okay. Don't kill the kayfabe, man. Well, listen, he didn't learn. Oh, wait, spoiler alert, Santino's not Italian. What? Dude, come on. You can't be saying shit like that, not while Santine is around. You know? Not while he's within earshot. Would you watch Doctor Who if the Doctor regenerated into a giraffe? I might. But then again, I also said I would come back to play Fortnite with the Sonic collab. And then the Sonic collab was total dog shit. So I didn't... So I didn't come back to it. Oh, wait! Oh, wait, can I actually throw my weapons? Can I throw weapons? What? No, come on. What the fuck? Wait, can I... Okay, I actually can, like, kind of throw weapons, it looks like. Dude, that's awesome! Okay, never mind. I guess weapon throwing does predate the modern 2K games. Dude, that's insanity. Wow. Okay, I'm sold. I'm forever sold on this game now. Any Sega characters you like to see as DLC in Sonic Racing Crossworlds? I mean, Knights is an obvious contender. Although I think Knights is all but confirmed at this point. Monkey Ball, obvious. Let's see. Okay. The spinning back fist. From goddamn, from goddamn Eddie Kingston. Wow. But no, bring back the foot. Yes! The football manager. I love that. Wait. The power of the punch. I'm sorry, what? I got a trophy for that. Ichiban is in Crossworlds. Or at least he will be in Crossworlds. I don't know about Kiryu or Majima. I think that they're pretty, like, you know, like, obvious choices. Alright, I think that we're good to go. Oh, promo zone. Hello.
You will not beat me in this tournament.
We'll see later tonight, Kozlov.
No later. I will smash you now, so you cannot fight later.
Well, okay. I want Vector... Dude, Vector Man would be an insane pull. Bonus points for legendary trans ally Kuze. I would love that, yeah. Like, listen. Out of every single Sega character that appears, we absolutely, for 100%... Ow! We absolutely, for 100% certainty, need to see Morgana. Okay? Like, Morgana in the game just makes sense to me, you know? Okay, so I can see my own health, but I can't see Kozlov's health. That makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense. Hey! Slap! Oh my god, we're trading chops! Really isn't all Japan, Matt. Correction, we need Futaba in there. Why not both? Oh, damn! Will Morgana be his own racing cart? Oh, no, that would be so cute! Dude, that'd be so cute! I would love that. But, like, I don't know, I feel like that would be a cop-out, right? Why do these, like, production crates just have, like, the names of, like, every... of, like, individual wrestlers on them? With all kinds of nerd-ass dialogue. Well, we definitely won't be getting that world because, the DLC characters are not voiced. At least, it doesn't seem like they'll be voiced. Unless you count, like, Hatsune Miku's character selection lines from the menu. Bruh, fuck you, Sega, what the f- Like, it literally kneecaps... It, like, kneecaps the DLC's potential. How, pray tell, am I expected to take the DLC seriously? Especially for SpongeBob, when I can't see him shit-talking Shadow the Hedgehog. You know? How old is Kozlov? Some sources say he was born in 1969. Nice. Others say he was born in 1979. I would just say what Wikipedia says. I think that just going based off of Wikipedia is a pretty solid bet, you know? Alright, which way are you going, brother? All the way over there. Right on time, too. Dude, I cannot get my finisher off on any of these guys. I just take them out too fast. I just take them out way too fast. Kofi Kingston giving the fluoride stare right there. I cannot get off Stev 2025. Congratulations, you've earned a lot of experience points. Hi, man. How was that?
Get lost.
No, you get lost. If anything, you should... If anything, you need to be, like, out of the match now. Because I just beat you within an inch of your life in
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
So really, you need to, like, just not be in the match at this point. Anyways. What the... Hey, no.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this.
How about fighting games?
How about
of course,
fighting games?
We have to begin with Acclaim's long-awaited WWF Attitude. While we have yet to review the N64 version, the PlayStation version did not live up to expectations. The graphics are very
Kofi looks like he's seen some
especially
shit.
during entrances, but the character animations are well done. Some modes do not even have entrances. I wish more than 4 players could be in the ring at once. Special moves are not listed in the manual, but some are listed in the Create a Wrestler section. Controls are okay, but the 400 plus moves are not easy to remember,
and have no logical connection to any
Hope he looks like he got the
For
injections
example,
that
the
one
ass
doctor
kisser
gave
move
CM
uses
Punk.
ups instead of downs. Still, you can't beat a game that offers this many
For
options.
the fucking injections that like John Moxley was given on
three fat
TV.
black ladies fighting one skinny white turd. You don't get to do that every day.
I cannot get off. My libido is shit.
Player 3 obviously can't win the match that way.
Do some damage, player 1. Insane. Insane crowd chants.
Tangled up. Oh, don't take it personal, son.
I still love how the one line of Stone Cold in this, I don't know who it's coming from. It could be from the skinny white turd or one of the 3 fat black ladies. It's really up in the air. I had Attitude in WrestleMania 2000 as well as WCW World Tour. I did not have any of those games. I only played those like in later years. I only played those in later years because I was a
oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Of course, this was long before. Anyway, I'm headed to bed. Good night, friends. Have a good night, Patch. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get down to business. Hello, Maurice. Why did you run? You gotta do that one cutscene from, like, SVR 2008 where, like, you constantly walk into the women's locker room. And everyone in there thinks that you smell. Alright, what do we have here? Do I still need to face Kozlov and Jericho at once? Triple threat match. Well, of course, Kozlov's going out there injured. So, really, I've already won the match, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. You're welcome, Jericho, by the way. Pringles in a bowl.
Introducing first.
With, like, Russian tanks.
302
wow.
pounds, Vladimir Kozlov.
With, like, Soviet imagery and stuff. Wow. New generation gimmick. Kozlov's trying to pull an angle, though he doesn't have a broken freaking neck. It's very true. I went on and I beat The Undertaker with a broken freaking neck. The worst timeline. Pringles in a bowl. Completely stoic Jericho confused me as a kid.
And his opponent, weighing 226 pounds, Chris Jericho.
I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot. Step in the arena, chat. I was trying to pull an angle. He's like trying to work an angle too. And I'm just like, is he even gonna sell the beatdown that he took backstage, or are we just gonna like completely just memory hole that? Did the cameras never catch that? Like, Jericho doesn't even place with the crowd in this. It's really weird, isn't it? Right? I always thought that was really weird. Man, if I knew that you were gonna mug to the camera like that, I wouldn't have helped you, Jericho.
The Masked Man.
That is the Masked Man, alright. And don't you fucking forget it. Not just the Masked Man, but the CONTROLLAR Masked Man. Alright, let's do it. I think that this right here is World Circuit type beat.
These 3 men have made it to the top of the heap.
Not quite the top, Michael. That spot is reserved for the dead man.
ECW's Kozlov may be the one to get pinned here.
I wouldn't be so sure, Michael. That guy can absorb a superhuman amount of punishment.
I mean, after the punishment that the CONTROLLAR gave them. At least until he jumped to AEW, Jericho didn't look like he aged, and even then, he doesn't look that old. No, he doesn't. He looks relatively the same. Albeit he's, like, fatter. But, you know, that's kind of what comes with the territory when you get older.
You can see the pain shoot through this superstar's body off that slam.
I will say, when I'm working with a TEW, say that takes place in modern day, seeing that he's 56 years old is something that I wasn't quite prepared for, I'm not gonna lie. Because, like, Jericho's always just been, like, the same, like, unspecified age of, like, mid-40s to me. To know that he's now old man Jericho is crazy. Like, oh, all of my favorites, all of the wrestlers that I knew as a kid are getting old. I keep thinking that picking up wrestlers is circle, but it's not, and so me and Kozlov just keep doing the goddamn double choke slam. I will not lie, after taking each other to the limit backstage, Kozlov and the CONTROLLAR are showing a lot of chemistry here. Ah, nice. Running Bulldog. Oh no.
Jericho has the headlock.
What the?
What's happened to the lights? Oh my gosh, The Undertaker. That should do it.
One.
There's the breakup, just in the nick of time.
I mean, to be fair, he kind of deserves that.
Devastating reversal by the former Sambo champion. And he's toast. Oh, mama.
Everyone's ganging up on Jericho. Come on. Throw it away right here. What? No way.
I'm confused. There wasn't a clear winner to this match. Sure looks to me like Undertaker came out on top.
Dude, what do you mean? Me and Kozlov were having a match over there.
What's going to happen? I see.
They can't just throw that shit out.
For the WWE Board of Directors. Hopefully, this will all be cleared up soon.
You can't just throw that shit out when we were having a match. Oh, well, you see, they thought we already had the match. It was in backstage. He looked pretty out of shape at times during AEW. Well, again, I think that just kind of comes with the fact that he's getting older. You know? Undertaker's just mad Jericho scratched his Red Bull car. That's very true. You scratched my shit. Alright. Do we have anything out here that we can interact with? Besides, you know... Can I, like, go into those doors? No, I cannot.
Thanks for joining us on Raw. There's still no word on who will be The Undertaker's opponent at WrestleMania.
To be honest, that's kind of a heel move, Taker.
Determine who it would be, but it was interrupted by Undertaker himself.
All three finalists are in attendance tonight, and all three will stop at nothing to break Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. It should be a wild evening.
What even is our match tonight? Oh boy, it's the strongest man alive, Mark Henry. Hi, Mark. Can you help me?
You're gonna be in the ring with The Undertaker tonight. That's what you've been waiting for. Make an impact.
That's the kind of selfishness I'm talking about. Get over yourself, man. Please. Please tell me that anyone in chat knows what the fuck I'm talking about. Because, if you're not aware, it's the fucking NBA games, and they're truly awful voice acting. Well, voice acting in big quotes. The only one that put in any work was, like, Shaq's VA. Mark Henry is also one of the nicest guys in wrestling, despite playing a heel most of his career. I'm sure that he is a perfectly swell individual. Yes. We got... Let's see who's getting worked on. And oh no! Oh no! Punk's seeing a WWE doctor. That's not gonna end well. Oh, I thought you were referencing ZZ Top from the at least Strongest Man Alive part. I mean, I was referencing that. I was, in fact, referencing that. I don't really think I need to, like, upgrade any of this, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I feel like in terms of, like, just our stats, we're, like, good to go, you know? I'm gonna go ahead and, check some of these locker rooms here first, before we kind of go further, I mean. Like, every single time I played one of these, I would check the locker rooms every single time. Because, I don't know, maybe there's an unlockable back here. Maybe there's like a fight I need to take place in, and then I will unlock something. I will admit, aside from like the final matches in these story modes, and even then I don't quite remember them.
Tonight, Kozlov face both you and Undertaker. I will kill 2 birds. 1 stone. You are one of the birds.
I got that, brother. Hey, listen, how about I kick the shit out of you again? Dude, that's awesome.
Get lost.
Yeah, that's how I feel about facing you again, brother.
Get lost.
You're in for a trip down the lane. Down the lane. Not just a lane, the lane. Alright, let's check this shit out. We have 2 things that we can do, I believe.
Undertaker's here? That's great. I can't wait to see him win.
Jericho's one of the best tag team competitors ever. I think his team's going to win out there.
Against Undertaker? He's a team all by himself.
He'll have to tag out sometime. Anyway, I take brains over brawn in tag matches.
If Jericho was so smart, he probably wouldn't show up for the match.
Oh, he'll show up all right, and his team will win.
That conversation absolutely failed the Bechdel test. Hi.
Look at this, Ted. Guy thinks he's a tag team specialist now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, you know, at least I'm not a money funneling specialist.
Tag team competition, since we are the best.
Oh yes, please impart.
Oh yes.
Oh wait, there's one problem.
Yeah, we don't like you.
We really don't like you.
Well, you know what? I don't like you.
Leave.
No.
Hit the brakes.
I'm sure you will make sound financial decisions in your future. Attorney finalist tag. So wait. What's like the... Ted had no room to talk. His career flopped, so he decided to copy Bernie Madoff. Listen, man. I'm not the one that siphoned money from charity. Pringles in a bowl. I don't know why Jericho's facing me. I helped him. I don't know why Jericho wants a piece of me. I helped him get to the finals. Ungrateful bastard.
Weighing 226 pounds, Chris Jericho.
Doing absolutely nothing. Except walk into the ring with a stick up his ass. Not playing to the crowd. You know what, maybe it's a good thing I'm facing you. I'll show you a thing or two about sportsmanship, Jericho. Don't be a sheep, Hank. The reason they won't release those files is because Jeffrey Epstein never died. He faked his death and is hiding out in a pig farm in New Zealand with Fidel Castro and John Candy.
And their opponent from Death Valley, weighing 2,
Release the files.
99 pounds, The Undertaker.
That does sound like a Justin Roberts announcement there. Because Jericho's a turncoat. But like, listen. Him and I, we have a similar goal. Right? For the finalists to be us. I never liked this entrance attire for Taker.
Baltimore, Maryland.
It is a little weird, isn't it? But I already... Listen, I have The Undertaker on my side, and I beat Kozlov to a pulp last week. We've basically already won.
Now they get their chance. I don't think this was quite the capacity they were hoping, though, King.
Here, you know what? Undertaker, go in there and squash this job.
Undertaker going for the cover.
This fucking jobber. Go in there and squash this J-Brone. To, of course, Spider-Man's music.
Oh!
From MVC3.
The knuckles connect. Ooh. Oh, wow. Watch it. That was like a freight train.
Mark Calloway versus Oleg Prudia. What the?
And he's in there trying to get something going
wow.
for his partner. And now he's back out on the apron.
That's insane pulls. So it looks like your alliance with Jericho didn't last long. No, but we have... Listen, that makes no sense. We both had the same... We both had the same goal here, you dummy. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot. Ask him, ref. Ask him what? What? And that right there's why you're not going to WrestleMania, kid.
I can only imagine how excruciating that must be.
We're gonna tenderize that meat, brother.
Yeah, but what's he gonna do next? A smart move there. Kozlov is just focused on destruction.
You know, that meat is not tenderized, brother. We gotta work at that shit hard. What the hell? Mat wrestling?
No wasted motion
from Vladimir Kozlov?
For years, the
man,
that
he's a virtuoso of the ring.
Athletic machine. Oh no! Kozlov into the headlock.
He's a real virtuoso of wrestling. I didn't realize.
Listen to this crowd show their appreciation for these amazing.
Man, we're just trading holds. Real catch-can wrestling going on right here, dude.
Right down the neck.
All up with the DDT. One exchange.
Undertaker.
I remember watching a vid where, in a different scenario, if you played it right, you can actually team up with Jericho against Taker and Kozlov. What do you mean played it right? Was I not supposed to, like, fight Kozlov in the backstage area? And then I would have teamed up with Jericho?
Himself off the ropes. The tag is made. And he finally gets out of the ring. The dead man controlling the head.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, brother. I kind of just want to have a Taker, like, just work this entire match.
Make you think twice about continuing the match. Playing mind games. Yeah, a little intimidation there. Undertaker from behind.
Man, we're trading holds, dude.
The head just bounced there. A swift.
Lots of real, like, old school shit here from Undertaker. It was an optional route, keep in mind, LOL. I enjoy that, like, things can, like, divulge that much, though. You know what, Jericho? You and I haven't properly mixed it up yet. Let's do it, brother. They just reverse all my shit now.
I'd say that's unorthodox as much as it is innovative. When you're fighting The Undertaker, who's about 6'11", your first mission is destroying his base, and then you go to work while he's down. And now his partner comes in.
I'm not done with you yet, brother. Scoop slam. We got those fundamentals down. Oh, no way. Turnabout's fair play, brother. We did. We did the Hulkamania finger point. Wow.
And there's an effective counter by the masked man. And now he's
all right. Real the CONTROLLAR shit right here. He's pressing all the buttons on Chris Jericho. Although in this case, it would probably be all the keys, considering that Jericho's all about those computer glitches. Hi there, Zep. How are you?
Hello, Mario.
Right, we're gonna put the boots to him. I'm Zepful. Glad to hear. Glad to hear, friend. Hold on, I'm gonna reset the chat because it's not showing you. There you go. That should be good.
Oh my! Raw, unmitigated power.
Oh, and that shot was dialed in.
What a nasty elbow.
We gotta do the international, dude. No, Jericho, get up. We have to run the international. Duck 2, then do your finish. I love the slow, like, spent run that they do. Nice.
Worked extremely well this far.
Hell yeah. Nation. In one of these games, there's a glitch where the referee can win a match. Which one? That sounds like an early game one. Like a Warzone glitch.
If you want to step up, just like you, bring it on.
Wait, what? Impale or DDT? Wow.
And the ref sees the tag.
Jericho's already coming back in?
And there's another nasty kick to
Fine.
the gut.
You know what?
Figure it becomes extremely difficult.
Yeah, brother.
And the assault continues on the injured torso.
All right, I'm gonna get you into the corner, I think.
And he gets the tag. The dead man has the headlock.
Yeah, like that's kind of like the annoying thing. Like when you play, when you're playing the, no way, it's the last ride, the last ride.
1, 2, 3.
Incredible work.
Undertaker wins.
Taker wins. In I guess that was the main event? Maybe? I'm honestly not sure.
His dominance yet again as his team gets the victory.
When you're teamed with The Undertaker, your #1 job is to stay out of the way.
It was Here Comes the Pain, I think. Man, dude, we already laid him out with the friggin'
Looks like Undertaker isn't finished.
with the last ride. Are we gonna, like, just keep battering Jericho? I'm sending you to TNA, dude. Damn.
Was a sacrifice tonight. A little message from The Undertaker.
This Sunday at Royal Rumble, we find out which of these three will be lucky enough to be matched up against Undertaker at WrestleMania.
So we had a sports entertainment finish at on last week's Raw, and now we're just gonna, like, actually have the match here at the Royal Rumble. Frankly, I don't want to face Kozlov again. In fact, I don't think I will. I'm actually gonna go to Stephanie McMahon and ask for him to be removed from this match.
We are live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.
Sure are.
Is the Royal Rumble.
30 men are fighting for one prize, a guaranteed world title match at WrestleMania. But 3 others are going for a different prize altogether.
The finalists from SmackDown, ECW, and Raw will compete in a ladder match. Suspended above the ring is a contract to face
ECW getting top billing over Raw is crazy. Alright, let's see here. Stephanie, where are you? I demand that Kozlov be removed from this matchup. This is bullshit.
I drew number 3 in the Rumble.
So sad.
That's not gonna stop me from outlasting 29 other superstars.
Look at it this way. If you're eliminated early, you can go work on your tan. I mean, you really could use a little color.
You think I need a pep
What? Who is voicing this character?
Ziggler. And if you don't know that already, I'm happy to show you right now.
Brother, I just walked up to you. I just walked up to you and you started yapping. I don't know why my guy is so confrontational. I forgot that this is what the goddamn Mario RPG music sounds like. You couldn't outlast anyone with that haircut, Ziggler. Yeah, like yeah, like the leopard print, like, arm wraps, the goddamn haircut. Like, he's a lot. He's like a lot to take in all at once here. Oh, Van Daminator! Wow! You gotta play it up for those that are watching from the friggin' arena. Dude, that fucking Van Daminator was insane. Chairs are apparently made of paper mache, as they are in wrestling. Wait, can I just, like, throw this down on him? I can, but it doesn't seem like it does anything. So wait, can I, like, just throw this at him? Oh, dude, I've always loved this animation. I'm just gonna go ahead and just lay him out with all the weapon shots. Every weapon shot under the sun. Come on, dude, get up. You gotta get up, dude. What the? What? Huh? What? Dude, he fucking did his finisher on... He did his finisher on the game. The CONTROLLAR's arch enemy. See, now, the controller calls that a misinput. But of course, Dolph Ziggler wouldn't know anything about that. One of the action figure battle packs was Curtis Axel and was a Triple H. Curtis Axel with a pallet. I don't care how strong you are, no one is using a pallet as a weapon. You don't know that. Have you ever played Backstage Assault? Pretty sure they use a urinal in that game as a weapon. Although I don't know if we were that, like, advanced yet.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break,
Come on,
my
I
dude.
gotta be able to get Dolph Ziggler down in like a minute. Please. Man, Dolph, for complaining about drawing number 3, you're lasting a friggin' long time, dude. Dude, just die! I think I got him. No, I didn't. I need to snooze the ad. No! Will you fucking die? Oh, spinning back fist! Intercepted, wow. The control has won. And that took a while. That took like 5 minutes almost. Wow. Christian just in the promo zone for some reason. Again with the fluoride stare. With the shots that friggin'
Get out of my face.
John Moxley got. Dude, I'm getting all these experience points, but I don't even think I need them. Listen, the CONTROLLAR needs to level up. Hello! Todd Grisham. Oh boy, in the promo zone with the CONTROLLAR.
Excuse me, could I get your thoughts on your match tonight?
With pleasure, Todd. The 30 men in the Royal Rumble match, they're looking at a nice prize if they win. But me, when I win this ladder match, I go on to WrestleMania, where I will make history.
Cool. That was some fantastic work there, the CONTROLLAR. Was Stephanie McMahon even in her goddamn Oh wait, I couldn't even get there because Dolph was in my way. Thank you. I just want to talk to Stephanie McMahon. Hey, what the fuck is it with you putting Vladimir Kozlov? Do you think that's gonna get some buy rates, brother?
Don't you have someplace you need to be?
No! No, no. I have to be right here.
Get out of my face.
Fine, I'll go to TNA then. If you're just gonna be that way. If you're gonna be that way, I'm gonna take my sweet ass over to TNA. We're gonna pop some ratings. Fine. Alright, cool. Hold on, we're gonna run an ad before we do the match here.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dude?
Just in case, because I'm not sure if, like, why is Stephanie's office so blah? At least get a poster, paint the walls, jazz up the place. Listen, that takes precedent.
Now, here's an infuriating game.
What takes precedent over that is having a photo of her father on a magazine cover in
no
there.
other game best represents the sluggishness of CDs. Even when you have the fast transition option selected from the menu screen, the game performs as well as a snail. Myst is definitely a classic though, and we see why. As we show you around the main island, notice the quality of detail in the graphics and the non-uniformity of trees and whatnot. Myst combines a surreal what we call Gaia theme and a scientific mysteriousness that both intrigues and perplexes. Oh, let's get back to the infuriating qualities. I almost forgot. We tried. We really tried. But even with a hint book, the game is invincible. There's one key problem area very early in the game, and we never passed it. The problem is in the spaceship, where you must enter a musical sequence to a tuner. The musical sequence is found in a book in the library, and there's even a harpsichord in the spaceship, so you can play the notes, hear them, remember them, and enter them correctly in the tuner. Well, good luck entering them. Even entering one note at a time won't work for us. We know other players who got stuck here too, but they only played the game briefly. This is absolutely ridiculous, because even though you know the solution, you can't execute it. Another gripe, Myst has no password feature, so memory cards are a must. One thing that isn't a must, however, is Myst itself. Sorry guys, but I've had enough of being mystified, and if I have to put up with one more groaning noise from the PlayStation as it very slowly switches screens, I'll freak out.
Well, if you do that, can you, like, do it in the other room? I don't want to see what your idea of freaking out is.
Excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hi, welcome back to the Royal Rumble, I guess. Although, I'll need to take one more break before we get going, because I need to pee. So, I'll be back in a couple minutes, chat. See you in a few. Come on, let me go to break. Alright, let's finish this out here. Chat, welcome back to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. But yeah, obviously, a picture of her father on the back of the room, of him on a magazine. Takes precedent. Holy shit, Paul. How are you doing?
You're lucky you're not in the Royal Rumble match. I'm feeling particularly nasty tonight.
Are you?
There are 29 guys who are gonna feel the brunt of it.
Alright, this is him in his, I'm pretty sure, 12th heel turn? I'm pretty sure that by the end of the night, he'll begin his 13th face run. So the Royal Rumble is the last match. So wait, we're in the mid-card, huh? Tag team title match. They don't even have, like, any actual, like, tag teams at this point. They just have to put tag team title match. Hardy versus Swagger? Oh, no. Edge versus Punk? That'd probably be good. Cena versus Orton? Oh, no. In the Royal Rumble match. This here looks like a modern-day, pay-per-view card, honestly. Actually, no. A Royal Rumble card is only 4 matches. So, if anything, we're being spoiled here. Ladder match with suitcase suspended. Can't believe we got to face Vladimir goddamn Kozlov for the 3rd time in a row. Well, listen, we'll send Impact in here tonight once and for all.
Yeah.
Pringles and a ball.
The following contest is a ladder match. Introducing first, from Moscow, weighing 302 pounds.
This right here will be the moment that the CONTROLLAR cements his destiny. Dude, imagine that you have guys like Christian and Shelton Benjamin on the roster of ECW. Even like Tommy Dreamer and Goldust. And you go with Vladimir Kozlov. That's how you know that Vince is booking this shit. That is how you know. Like, look at this. I gotta pick up the slack because we don't have Christian in this match. And I gotta do it by using his old Titantron. This is bullshit. I gotta do so much for this company. And what do? They do this to me. Hold on. Let's go ahead and let's do... Since this is a pay-per-view, we gotta do it. Big fight music.
The talk of the WWE Universe for weeks now.
I can't believe it's finally happening. And as a ladder match with these 3 superstars,
let's see here. You know what? I'm gonna let these boys work each other over.
I don't like the looks of this.
How fast can I end this matchup?
Up the ladder, and this is so dangerous. Jericho may get the contract right here.
Here we go. The case might be coming down right now.
And this could be the Money in the Bank match right here.
This is not Money in the Bank. You friggin' Mark.
He does it again.
We just trade like uppercuts up here. No. Yeah. Holy shit. I don't even know what we did there. I didn't get a good look.
He could win the Money in the Bank match right here.
What? Ah, land on your feet. Holy crap. We got, dude, Jericho got castrated there.
Squeezing down on the head.
Kozlov put in the goddamn cheat code. Force of habit on their wording.
Retrieve the WrestleMania contract inside that briefcase will be declared the winner.
All 3 superstars want to make history, but at what cost?
Now trying to make the climb again. Slow once again working on bringing that briefcase.
No, not you. It'll be the CONTROLLAR's time. Please someone has it on clip. I mean, you gotta do it yourself, brother. You can do it yourself if you want. Ooh, there you go.
Oh, there it is!
He jumps and knocks his opponent down with a drop kick.
Oh, that did it! And he's going for that ladder.
And I think it's obvious that he'll stop at nothing to win here tonight.
It's really, like, fun to hear, like, these old SVR lines in this context. Because Michael Cole just has a certain cadence when it comes to, like, his old lines from the old SVR games. Well, you know, that works too.
And there's the ladder.
What? I'm just gonna sit over here and the CONTROLLAR is gonna recharge real fast.
Jericho into the headlock.
Chris Jericho is a decent and honorable man. Ow! I don't know, man. He wanted my help and he hasn't really, like... He hasn't reciprocated that with friendship of any kind. He won't even play Smash 64 with me. What kind of asshole does that?
Oh, man, what a neckbreaker. Oh, my.
Nice! Alright. I think we can do it.
Jericho controlling the head.
Wow, what a sequence.
Yeah, this match might actually take a minute, considering that it's, you know, a three-way.
Nailed with that boot.
Ow!
Good night.
Jericho controlling the waist.
Dear Lord, what a suplex.
No! Alright, Jericho's officially disturbing the peace.
And there's an effective...
Alright, well, we set it up. Someone's got to take the bump now. Hey, Kozlov. Listen, kid, I'm gonna make you famous. Alright, well, I guess we're not doing spot anymore. Jericho read the sheet wrong. Jericho read the goddamn sheet wrong. And apparently the CONTROLLAR is also getting bad reception.
And that's a stiff kick. Somehow, someway, he figured out a way to make this...
Ah, dude, the ladders are going everywhere. Jericho's an absolute menace with the ladder. Someone set it up. Someone set the shit up. If you won't set it up, I will.
Oh, man.
Alright, Kozlov, you and I, we're gonna run the international across some friggin' ladders. And the CONTROLLAR is super strong, brother. Thank you for clipping that. Thank you for clipping that. Idea maker.
He's enjoying this.
Get ready!
This is it. Here he
Oh my god, yes! Yeah, baby! Splits! Yeah! Hell yeah.
Heading back up the ladder.
If he can win this struggle, he might just win the match. A great European uppercut.
Ah, the Euro cuts. Wow. What? No! No! On the rope! Ah! Again! Right in the family jewels again for Y2J.
Kozlov is so well versed in holding.
Wow.
Yeah, the Moscow Mauler knows about 1,000 ways to destroy you.
Come on, Kozlov, go up that shit, I dare you. Yeah, exactly. Dummy. Here.
Watch out here.
I will not let you friggin' win this, you Pringle eating motherfucker. Why does this sound like someone's opening a can of Pringles in the audience? Come on. Come on, I gotta get the PNG. I gotta get the PNG. No! No! Dude, I keep landing arm first on the ropes. Who's opening a bag of chips in the audience? You hear that?
Off the apron and down to the floor.
Heading back to the top.
Did you hear that? Stop opening chips in the audience. That's getting on the hard mic. It's getting on the stadium mic, you goddamn idiot. It's not just Pringles in a bowl anymore. It's Pringles on the friggin' hot mic.
Showdown for the ages. Undertaker's streak just may be in jeopardy.
The dead man is.
It'll be from this man right here.
Never faced a threat quite like this.
That's true, Michael. I'm surprised he isn't out here congratulating the winner.
We know he's not scheduled for the Royal Rumble match, which is taking place next.
No, it's not. We got 2 more matches to go before that. I read the match sheet, Michael. Listen, man, gotta make good use of it, of this pay-per-view sponsorship. It's sponsored by Smucker's Jelly. We promise we don't use Chris Jericho's testicles in it. Go to the training room to upgrade your attributes. I already did that, dude. I think we can go for a little bit longer, depending on who's still here. Alright, I think... No, you know what? I gotta be at work tomorrow, unfortunately, and I also need to be awake for WrestleDream. So, we're going to need to call it a night here, y'all. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me this evening. We'll be back at this on Sunday night. Not tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is, of course, WrestleDream, which you should all join for, because we will be watching it live as it happens in the Longboy Clubhouse Discord server. There it is right there. I would really appreciate it if you joined us. We have a lot of fun over there. We talk about wrestling, games, basically whatever we want. And usually whenever I'm, Wait, Idea Maker, you have a Chikorita on your Twitch name. That's really neat. I like that. Anyways, let's go and raid into someone here. I might raid into someone that I've not really raided into for a while, and that is... So. Getting a sub while someone was playing the new Pokemon game. Oh, nice. And that just gave you it right away. I keep hearing a car honk, and I think it's coming from outside. But it's way too late for that. You know what? My friend Faust is about to play some more Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, so we're going to go over raid into him. Again, appreciate all of you for joining me tonight. This has been very, very fun. We'll be back on Sunday with more of this, and I think that we'll be able to finish it, because we spent the majority of this evening building our character, so I think by then, we'll be good to go. Yeah, Longboy Club Love, that is the Raid message, as always. I will see you all on Sunday. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for Wrestle Dream. Until then, y'all have a good night. Y'all have a good sleep. And remember, when you're in the Long Boy Club, you're in it for life. For life. See y'all. Have a good night.